In 2006, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the Mexican drug lord, received a gift of two rival Los Zetas cartel members in the Sinaloa mountains. El Chapo beat the men severely with a stick, causing multiple bone fractures. Witnesses reported that the men were left looking like rag dolls. El Chapo then had the men slung over ATVs and taken to a bonfire, where he made derogatory comments about their mothers before shooting them and ordering their bodies to be burned. El Chapo was known for his heartlessness, relentlessness, and ruthlessness as a protector of his drug monopoly. Similarly, in the 1980s, Pablo Escobar ordered the killing of a bus driver in Colombia after the driver caused the death of the mother of one of Escobar's friends. One of Escobar's hitmen, Jairo Velasquez, aka Popeye, carried out the murder. Speaking later about the incident, Popeye claimed to have felt no emotions during the killing. It is likely that Escobar did not feel any remorse for ordering the hit. These examples demonstrate that both drug kingpins had a zero-tolerance policy towards anyone who opposed them. They were both known for their cruelty and brutality, and while they shared many similarities, they also had their differences. Let's begin with Joaquin Archibaldo Guzman Loera, also known as El Chapo. He was born on April 4, 1957, in Sinaloa, Mexico, to a large family that struggled financially. His father worked as a cattle rancher, but it wasn't enough to make ends meet. To help out, El Chapo dropped out of school at a young age and started selling oranges. By the time he was 15, he had moved on to selling marijuana and was already working with Mexican cartels by age 20. This marked the beginning of his rise to power in the illegal substances industry. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, on the other hand, was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia. His family was also quite large, and his father was a cattle farmer, like El Chapo's. Although Escobar's family was not as financially strained, young Pablo was always around narcotics, specifically marijuana and cocaine, which he quickly realized represented a financial opportunity, especially when sold to Americans who were rapidly embracing cocaine. Returning to El Chapo's story, he worked for a cartel when a number of Mexican drug cartels were part of an alliance formed by Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, aka El Padrino, who organized things and moved enough cocaine into the U.S. to keep Wall Street bankers partying for the next millennia. Guzman became a major player in the Sinaloa cartel under Hector El Güero Palma, who liked El Chapo's trustworthiness and willingness to use violence. Cross him or mess up his shipment, and you were done for. Despite some similarities in their early lives, such as their fathers being cattle farmers, El Chapo and Escobar had different paths to power. El Chapo started as a low-level drug dealer before rising through the ranks of the Sinaloa cartel, while Escobar's introduction to the drug trade came through his own experimentation with narcotics. The arrest of the Godfather created a power struggle among the Mexican drug cartels, including the Sinaloa cartel, who all wanted to control the best routes for their Colombian cocaine to enter the lucrative U.S. market. Despite the DEA's expectation that taking out a boss would interrupt the flow of drugs, violence erupted, and brutal killings were commonplace. Chainsaws were used to saw people in half, and heads literally rolled in the streets. El Chapo was finally able to take control of the Sinaloa cartel in 1995, at the age of 38, when his associate was arrested. This was a remarkable achievement for someone who had started as a cattle farmer. He quickly made his cartel the most powerful in Mexico, with the help of bribed cops and politicians. He even managed to escape from prison, proving his resourcefulness. On the other hand, Pablo Escobar had a reputation for violence and was involved in petty crime and kidnapping from a young age. He gained notoriety when he kidnapped and killed a local businessman, despite receiving a ransom from his family. Escobar turned to cocaine as his way to make big profits in Colombia, where coca leaves could be bought for pennies and turned into paste for sale to U.S. dealers. Cocaine was in high demand, and Escobar realized he could make a fortune quickly. Unlike El Chapo, he didn't have to resort to violence to achieve his success. At just 26, he had already made $3 million, which would be equivalent to $15 million today. However, neither El Chapo nor Escobar were content with just making a fortune and retiring. In the late 1990s, El Chapo started trafficking methamphetamine into the United States, which quickly gained popularity among Americans due to its low cost and long-lasting effects. He avoided buying from the Colombians by producing it in his own meth labs, which allowed him to move it directly into the U.S. without interference from authorities. This move established him as the boss of bosses, giving him control over several cartels in different Mexican states. Despite being arrested and imprisoned, he broke out of jail in 2001, paying a mere $2.5 million for his escape. However, the peace pact between cartels was shattered, leading to a violent turf war that claimed the lives of thousands of people, including civilians, women, and children. During this time, El Chapo remained on top, and it's believed that he received protection from the DEA in exchange for information on other cartel members. Although he was wanted in the U.S., his indictment was temporarily dropped due to his cooperation. The violence continued, leading to gruesome killings, such as torture, beheading, and even sewing a man's face onto a soccer ball and sending it back to his cartel. Escobar and his associates were notorious for their extreme violence, and it's believed that they killed around 4,000 people during their cocaine trafficking days. They targeted leading politicians, lawyers, and even blew up an airplane carrying a presidential candidate, killing 107 individuals. In terms of power and influence, Escobar surpassed El Chapo and was considered the true king of coke, having established the cocaine trafficking business from scratch, while Mexican cartels simply bought or transported cocaine for other organizations. Despite his violent reputation, Escobar was also viewed as a Robin Hood figure who gave generously to poor communities, building schools and hospitals. Compared to El Chapo and the Mexican cartels, Escobar's violence was not as widespread or gruesome, although he was responsible for bombing buildings, murdering lawyers, and taking out around 600 police officers. He managed to maintain his dominance by controlling the entire supply chain and running his operations like a business, using his infamous slogan, Plato o plomo, silver or lead, to offer officials a choice between taking bribes or facing violent consequences. At the height of his power, Escobar was responsible for smuggling 15 tons of cocaine into the U.S. every day, earning the cartel around $26 billion annually, making him one of the richest men in the world with an estimated net worth of $30 billion according to Forbes. Compared to Escobar's empire, El Chapo's kingdom paled in comparison. In 1993, at the age of 44, Escobar was killed, leaving behind a vast fortune in properties spread across the world. His funeral was attended by over 25,000 Colombians, who mourned their Robin Hood. However, the drug trade didn't stop with his death. Instead, it was taken over by other cartels, such as the Cali cartel, who also held significant power in politics and could bribe law enforcement agencies. While the crime and murder rates in Medellin did decrease after Escobar's death, cocaine is still being trafficked from other South American countries where it is cheap and easy to grow. Despite the risks involved, traffickers continue to do business because the profits are too great to ignore. El Chapo, on the other hand, was arrested for the last time in 2014 at the age of 56. The exact amount of money he had is unknown, as the U.S. government has been unable to locate most of it. His capture reportedly cost U.S. taxpayers billions of dollars, and he was quickly replaced as the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. Today, the Sinaloa cartel remains one of the largest drug trafficking organizations, with the Jalisco New Generation Cartel as its main competitor. The Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, is investing billions of dollars into capturing the leaders of drug gangs, but this is a never-ending battle. The leaders are quickly replaced by new individuals ready to take their place, and as a result, the power and influence of these gangs continue to grow. This is evident from the increasing use of cocaine in the United States and parts of Europe, especially in the United Kingdom. The arrest of El Chapo created a power vacuum, which resulted in a steady increase in Mexico's murder rate, reaching an all-time high in 2019. According to a report from the Secretariat of Public Security, Mexico witnessed 34,582 murders that year, and in March 2020 it reported the highest number of homicides ever, 2,585. These facts illustrate that the war on drugs cannot be won and will never end. El Chapo was just one person in the game, and his replacement will likely receive media attention soon. The comparison with Pablo Escobar demonstrates that he was the one who started the game, and he ignited decades of cocaine use and abuse in the United States and the world. While he has been replaced, his influence continues to be felt. That was all for this episode. Till the next time, see ya.